Wow, I feel old. Today is the 20th anniversary of Underworld. That's right, everyone. Underworld turns 20. Wow, I remember when this film came out, it was kind of a big deal because even though you had different stuff with the Universal horror monsters crossing over, you never really had a big movie that had vampires versus Lycans, aka werewolves, until this film. And I remember seeing the previews to it and just being like, whoa, this looks crazy. We're coming off of the Matrix films. We're coming off of Blade 1 and 2. And then this film comes out and it's just like, here's this dark, gothic, supernatural action movie. Kate Beckinsale, it's the reason why people had a crush on her, let me tell you. This and probably serendipity. But I digress. Underworld was a really cool film that I remember coming out a week after Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And I didn't see it in theaters, actually. I actually saw the History Channel documentary that went over the history of vampires and Lycans and world history and different media. I don't know if you remember that documentary. It was a cool 2 to 3 hour documentary going over vampires and werewolves and folklore and legends and history. And it's this one that I got on DVD later on. And it's not when stuff came out 2 to 3 months either. It was a long time, probably the spring semester, right after winter break, I think it came out. And I remember the DVD cover being that holographic cover. Rented it from Hollywood Video, and I absolutely loved this film. Introduced me to Len Wiseman as a filmmaker. He later on did the Total Recall remake, Live Free or Die Hard, and also produced and directed some episodes of Swamp Thing from DC Universe. Kate Beckinsale was great in this. Scott Speedman, not Scott Stapp from Creed, but Scott Speedman. They have Michael Sheen as Lucian. Bill Nye, not Bill Nye the Science Guy, but Bill Nye. Sophia Myles in a supporting role. She was later on the vampire show Moonlight. Yeah, this was just cool seeing how they set it up, the opening with Celine seeing the rain, her coat going down, and then they're trying to find this man that Lycans are trying to find, named Michael. He's the last bloodline, mortal bloodline of the Corvinus lineage. And pretty much you'd learn more in Underworld Evolution that Corvinus had 2 sons, one bitten by a bat, one bitten by a Lycan, or a wolf, and that's what made the vampires and Lycans. And it's cool seeing the different weapons they used to fight each other in the war that's been going on for centuries. And what makes this cool is it not only shows you the underworld of these supernatural creatures and the way they function within the real world, it shows you a love story that is kind of doomed, in a way, and it's opposite. Almost a Romeo and Juliet of vampire Lycan with Michael and Celine. Celine protects Michael. Michael gets bitten, but she doesn't want to entirely kill him. And there's this whole history there, them trying to find Lucian, who is thought to be dead. And there's a lot of double crosses in this movie. Vampires that have been secretly working with Lycans. Victor, Bill Nye plays, is a mentor to Celine. She awakens him much earlier than she should. And it's just crazy seeing how the plot unfolds, what happened with his daughter and how Lucian was made, all the way to Scott Speedman's Michael being the bridge between the vampires and Lycans as a hybrid. I remember seeing the trailers to this. It had Red Tape by Provocateur playing. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but this was such a cool film when I first saw it. I was in middle school, and it's just at the right time. I was a fan of vampires. The first film that got me into vampires was Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in 1994. I saw The Lost Boys later on, and then I saw the Blade films about a year before Underworld, as well as Bram Stoker's Dracula on TV with Gary Oldman. So I was heavy into my vampire phase, so to speak. Back when vampires were vampires and they weren't glittering like the Twilight. No, these are fucking vampires and they're glorious. The Lycans were also crazy, seeing how they morphed and stuff. It looked painful. And the practical effects used here, I like the blend of CG and practical effects better in the first 2 Underworlds than some of the later ones. And overall, it's just a dark and gothic film with a great metal rock soundtrack. And the story was very well done too. I think the one that played the henchman to Lucian was a co-writer of this, if I'm not mistaken. He's a great actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. And I like Underworld and Underworld Evolution. They really complement each other, much like Terminator and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And they probably should have stopped after that, but they kept going. And I actually like them all except for maybe 4. 4 is my least favorite. But I like 5. Blood Wars is underrated. Rise of the Lycans is a great conclusion / prequel. And I love the first 2, but this first one just got the atmosphere and everything just right for a vampire gothic film. And it's just crazy to think that it's 20 years old, but I am glad that even though it kind of went in a direction I wasn't expecting, or I wanted to see, say, more characters like Michael, I'm glad that it did have somewhat of a conclusion and wasn't left open-ended. And each film kind of is more of a standalone film, even though it like hints at what could happen in the future. Each one is isolated in a way, and that's great. And Kate Beckinsale is a kick-ass heroine as Selene. She made this role. First action role, I mean, she brought a lot to this role. All the actors did. Brought a lot of gravitas to something that could have been very silly. It was a good companion piece to The Matrix and the Blade trilogy. It had quite an effect on me in my teen years, and what can I say? It just added to my love of the supernatural and the vampiric gothic world, you know. And my name Lopez means wolf, so I guess that's something too. Let me know your memories of Underworld. When did you first see it? Did you have a crush on Kate Beckinsale? What's your favorite entry? Let me know down in the comments below. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more content. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Till next time.